Hello everyone, Neagat here, and welcome to another match of LittleWarGame. Today I am bringing you a video between Mr. Bscherm playing with the red pieces in the top left corner of Ravaged. Very popular and very well-known map, not Mike. Versus myself playing with the blue pieces in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different than I normally do with my other videos. If you remember on my channel yesterday or the day before I post this video, in case it's further on in the future, posted a guide on how to play the 1-1-1 build order where you go 1 Rax, 1 Workshop, and then 1 Mill. And then as a result, you're having a lot of safety, you're able to do a lot of plays. And then you go from there. So we're going to be looking at this game from Mr. Bscherm's perspective, talking about some of the moves that he's doing, maybe some of the things that he sees, and then we'll go from there. Other thing that I wanted to mention is that I'm trying a different microphone setup, using the same microphone, but this time I'm just having it a little bit closer to my mouth so that I can sound a little bit louder for the audio, perhaps a little bit clearer. So we'll see how that goes. Bscherm planning on sending his first raider across the map. If we look at his rally points, we see that Bscherm is planning on moving this raider into my base. He's basically going to want to try to check to see if this is 1 den or a 2 den. This is one of the very first steps that you do as a raider opening. And this is not just for the 1-on-1. If you're ever opening raiders, one of the things you want to make sure you check for is to see if your opponent is going for a 2 den. A couple ways you can do that. One of the ways is you get into the base and you see if there's 1 den or if there are 2. Other way you can check for that is wolf count. If you see 3 wolves where there should be 2, you'll know right off the bat, boom, that is a 2 den. So originally, he had his raider planning on going across the map. He sees that I am playing Beast, confirmed with this Beast arriving. So far, he only sees 2 wolves, so he doesn't really need to worry about anything so far. He does save up for a raider and does buy it the second he can afford it, which is at that 110 gold mark. And he's just going to try to get 3 raiders. He's going to stay on his side of the map. Something that is very strong about the raid. Well, the reason why also by the way, the reason why he's staying on his side of the map is because he has not seen more than 2 wolves so far, and he is very familiar with this build order. It does look like a very unaggressive den build order so far. Okay, follows it up with a workshop, transfers 4 workers. I recommend you transfer 5. That way you just get a little bit more even mining. But alas, that's what he goes for. And then prioritizing the worker production. So far, so good. Very safe. In terms of how Bscherm plays it, he was very defensive. He stayed at home. He decided to kind of just play a more defensive game with his raiders. I'm just, getting information, seeing what his raiders are doing, seeing if he's taking a base, that sort of thing. Bscherm, now that he's feeling pretty safe, I haven't really pressured him too much with these wolves. He's feeling pretty safe, and now he's going to be able to try to take the map. Basically, checking me, checking to see if I'm going for a very fast third or any of these things. And we do see a little bit of contact. While this is going on, you'll notice that Bscherm does have his soldier out. He's going to use these soldiers to defend his main base. And almost immediately after this workshop finishes, he is going to build this mill. While this is all going on, he is putting a lot of raider pressure in on this base here. A little bit of a mistake in terms of my play as far as how I responded to this opening. There are some things that I've discovered recently, if you're a Beast player, that allow you to kind of respond to this opening just a little bit more ideally. Anyways, Bscherm is getting this set up. He is defending with his soldiers, so he really doesn't need to worry about this. You notice that these raiders are also getting in a lot of pressure, a lot of damage on these wolves. I'm having to micro a lot to make sure that these wolves don't just die. And so a lot of players will be very nervous about sending the raiders across the map. But as you can see here, these raiders can do a lot of damage. They can put in a lot of pressure. As long as you're controlling them correctly, microing them back, that sort of thing, you should be a-okay. All right, do want to mention, yes, so mill is done. Bscherm should be getting another a gyro at this point here, although he has seen a lot of information at this point. So here is a response that Bscherm went for. He noticed that I went for a very quick advanced workshop, and this is typically what you got to do if you do see that your opponent is going for the 1-1-1. You want to be able to get a ballista ship so that you can defend and move around a ballista and be able to defend against any of the follow-up gyros that you see. Bscherm noticed this because he was able to send in a raider into my base, and it looks like instead of building any gyros, he's deciding to build out of his... Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. I think he's just trying to take a quick third base. Basically decides like, all right, perhaps I'm over investing in defenses. He realizes that he doesn't even have to scout because he's already scouted the fact that I had, this advanced workshop and 2 dens. He decides that he can very easily take his third base. And this was even before the 6-minute mark, whereas my build order is taking the third base pretty much right at the 6-minute mark. So cutting one gyro and then continuing on with some soldier production does allow him to do that. I come in, try to do a little bit of worker harassment with this here. I'm able to walk in a wolf. This is actually a trick that most players should be utilizing in their games. The fact that you can run in a wolf, especially when you're doing like multi-prong harassment, that sort of thing, and then get some additional scouting information. 5 soldiers, insanely, or 6 soldiers rather. These guys are insanely powerful, insanely strong, especially in combination with the raiders. Very difficult to dislodge. And I'm also suffering a little bit when it comes to the wolf count. Definitely don't think I'm playing a good beast game. I think, especially recently, I've improved a lot in terms of how to play these scenarios out, especially on the B side of the 1-1-1 opening. You'll notice all these buildings, very safe, like extremely safety based. I did have to respond. I'm actually way over responding. The second I see that this is not producing, I definitely need to be like canceling basically all my advanced workshop production. And then if you're ever curious about how to play this side of the matchup, I can do a follow-up video regarding beast. Most part you are trying to get 3 den on 2 base with snakes. You can go for a snake push, or you can utilize snakes to defend against the air. Snakes are way better at defending air than what they used to be pre-patch. Okay, let's talk about this follow-up from Bscherm. So you notice that he was able to take his third base relatively quickly, getting set up, and now he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 racks, and he's going to be producing off of this workshop also. He's stopping production at about 30 workers, so 10 workers per gold mine. Maybe he's continuing production, actually. Let's take a look. Does he continue to build workers after these guys finish? No, I do not believe so. So he's going for a 3-base all-in. So the way he plays this, of course, is very safe. Basically, you have extreme safety in terms of your initial setup, going for the safety workshop and then the mill, having soldiers in combinations with the raiders to be very strong and defensive, and then you're even more defensive by getting all this infrastructure up, which you can then turn into a very strong 3-base push that Beast has a very difficult time responding to here. So we'll just kind of see how that plays. The push comes in. If we take a look at my side of the map, I haven't, like I mentioned earlier, I haven't really played this very well. I've only got like a handful of wolves. I need more dens. I've needed more dens for a while at this point, and this is like over here with this advanced workshop, it's been a little bit confusing there. But that's how it goes most of the time. Getting a fourth, kind of greedy, especially when he's able to scout that. All right, here comes the push. His push is based, or is aiming to take out this fourth base location and to cut off this third base location. So basically, he wants this half of the map to be completely dead, and then he is also going to utilize some of the sim that I have being very open and then being very easy to approach. As a result, I really don't have any response. I try to take another base to make up for the fact that I'm about to lose a base here. Perhaps I can utilize Den's very quick reinforcement to kind of be able to defend against this here. So Bscherm basically just saying, I'm going to take some guaranteed damage. And then I am just going to back off, make sure I continue to play safe, get a fourth base, and I will be in a good spot. Same time, try to do some drop harass. I have the advanced workshop, might as well do something with it, right? I wonder if I still have the 2 ballistas. Yeah, so I do have the ballista ship. We call this a ballista ship, by the way, where whenever you have ballistas loaded in an airship, that way you can maneuver them around to kind of just get some very strong defense. Archers are in position. This does not look like it's going to go very well, and I probably should have left this game right when that happened, because that was an airship full of beast units. Not very good at all to lose that. Do end up getting 5 bases underway. We are trying to reestablish our infrastructure, get our supply up as quickly as we can, especially because we do see that Bscherm is almost maxed out on 120 supply at the moment. That'll be growing as long as he is building houses, which does look like he's hit quite a heavy supply block. If I was him, definitely be looking to push here so that you can trade off some of your supply. And then I am also teching into dragons, so I guess I've done that as well. Upgrades should be coming. I am going for attack. Bscherm, very curious to see if he's transitioning into upgrades at all. Doesn't look like he is doing upgrades, but instead he is building a church and going for range, which can be very strong as well. Yeah, so as I was trying to mention earlier, you know, you get a lot of safety. You get your third base relatively quick. It is pretty important that you do get your infrastructure up after you build your third base. That way you can be very, continue to be defensive, that sort of idea. But then so that you can punish your opponent's mistakes if they make any mistakes. You know, you want to be able to have the units to punish that. You also want to be able to punish any greed. So Bscherm moving across the map, touching this third base and destroying it was definitely good by him, because it punished how greedy I was playing for taking a fourth base as well. I kind of want to take a look at the worker count. So if I press Q, you'll see that I have 53 workers versus his 44. Bscherm is a player who does cut worker production. I think I'm a player who just likes to keep building workers at every stage of the game as long as I can get them. Doing a little bit of run by harassment. Bscherm with this massive Rax ball is going to be able to absolutely stomp any beast army at this point. The one thing he does need to be aware of is that he doesn't leave his bases too vulnerable, but he does have towers everywhere. It is going to mess with this with the AI of these wolves should they decide to go for a run by. And then obviously workers are very strong at basically kicking wolves if they try to go for a pressure. Dragon comes around. We do see that these guys are going to be very good at tanking for the archers. Beast units kind of in position on the map, but not in position to be able to try to do any flanks against this army. Basically, as long as Bscherm is able to tuck himself into a corner of the terrain, and it can be any corner. It can be here, it can be here, it can be wherever he'd like. This army is going to be very, very difficult to dislodge. I respond by trying to go for basically run by harass, basically just backstabs, try to make this push as painful as I possibly can against his economy, and then try to remax at home with my dens. Unfortunately, not producing anything out of my dens at the moment, which is a mistake, obviously. A lot of things to control, a lot of dragons to control, trying to transition into mech so that I can get catapults against this, majority Rax composition. Obviously, these run-bys are going to do very well in terms of damage, but if it comes down to a base trade, I'm going to have a very difficult time dealing with this army just because of how strong the Rax units do become once you get enough of them, right? Catapult on the high ground. Bscherm just splits off a contingent of soldiers. This is going to be perfectly fine for dealing with archers, or with catapults rather. Does look like Bscherm was able to pick off the that airship there, so no more airship micro, and then he does get on top of the catapult production, which is going to put an end to my ability to produce catapults. I do end up clearing his 4th base, but at this point I'm losing so much supply to this massive army, and there's really nothing that I can do to stop it. It's a bit of a roller coaster at this point. I can continue to try to find damage, but Bscherm with 2 towers, and then with his reinforcements at home, is going to be able to defend against a lot of this. At this point, it's just me trying to defend as much as I possibly can. Bscherm rotating his workers appropriately to a more defensive location when he's able to do that. And then the archers are going to be good to go. Yeah, so an example of the 1-1-1. This game should be ending any moment. I would be very curious to see if I try to continue this game on. I definitely should be leaving at this point. Yeah, so any highlights? So yeah, so extremely flexible build order. Bscherm playing this style was basically like an example of how you can be very flexible with how you do your opening. The fact that he was getting this raider earlier into the game, into the main base, to basically see if I was doing anything crazy, like maybe a 4-den build on 2 base, some sort of all-in like that would have been pretty important for him to scout. He does get the scout with the raider, and then he basically decides he doesn't really need the extra safety of the gyro, and then he basically goes on from there, taking a very fast 3rd, and then getting his infrastructure up so that he can do a 3-base push, which I was not ready to answer. So that's how the game goes. In terms of the game state, this is very difficult to dislodge. This mine has like no workers. I have lost the space. About to lose all my relevant bases, and should be over very soon. Perhaps I try to make a final stand. I'm just gonna speed up through this game because this is very over. Maybe Mr. Bscherm takes an epic fight that would be worth watching. We'll see. Splits off, the rest of his army, destroys this. Okay, I'm basically just trying to make a last stand. Maybe I can get some damage with these dragons. In terms of the worker count, we're sort of similar, except I've only got like the 1 base versus his 2. I actually do get a little bit of damage here, to be fair. It's just that the supply difference is so big that it doesn't really matter anymore. It's like I can try to play this style where I'm just like super defensive. I have catapults everywhere, but now that the dragons are gone, there's really nothing I can do to like get back into this game, and that's fine. That's fine. Bscherm definitely deserved to win this game, and yes, 21-minute mark, he does take it. So there's an example of a 1-1-1 playing out, what it can look like against some beast play. And hopefully that'll be extra educational benefit for you guys as you learn that build order, and as you try to utilize it yourself. Alrighty guys, I will see you in the next video.